Hello again, Mr. Civics here. Glad to see you again. Maybe it's the same day after you watched the last one. Maybe it's another day. I don't know. I'm just glad to see you again, making sure that you are prepared for the Florida Civics EOC. Now, if you're not from Florida and you're just like wanting to see what this is about, yes, in Florida, we have an end of course exam requirement for our 7th grade civics students. And so that's what we're going through. We want to make sure that we provide them the best opportunity to pass this exam. And so I'm just reviewing everything that they've already been taught this year by their instructors. I'm sure that their civics teachers have already taught them this year, but it's nice to have a refresher before we get to the EOC. So today we're going to just talk about what really led up to our Declaration of Independence, right? The document that was just formatted and signed and then sent out to let the world know that we were declaring our independence from Great Britain. So what led up to that? Why this just drastic shift? Why do we all of a sudden just decide to pull away from the country that really provided for their protection and providence for such a long time? Well, I'm glad you asked. Okay, so Britain, after the French and Indian War, started to get a little bit territorial and kind of wanting to maybe kind of have a toxic relationship with the colonies, and they needed to regain some money that they lost during the war. So they started putting out these taxes and acts that would collect money from the colonists, without the colonists' permission, by the way. So we'll just start off with like the Stamp Act. A simple little act that says, okay, any piece of paper that you have, anything that has a paper or official document needs a stamp. Okay. So we're just going to charge you for that. You never used to be charged for it, but we're going to start charging you for it now. It's like, okay, it's okay, it's not a big deal, but you didn't ask us. And Great Britain's like, oh, great, well, maybe we'll create an act that says we don't have to ask you, okay? So then we get the Declaratory Act. It's like, oh, now we are declaring that we don't have to ask you to tax you. There you go. Solves that problem. So then we have, and it's like, if you didn't like the Stamp Act, well, then you're probably really not going to like this one, all right? So then we have the Townshend Act, all right? So this act places taxes on more than just paper products. It's like glass and lead, all right, paint. Oh, you want to make your house look nice? Oh, you want to build stuff? You want to have a business for yourself? Well, here you go. Now we're going to tax everything that you need in order to do that. Now the people are starting to get a little bit upset. And then there's this tea tax, all right? That it kind of says, well, you have to maybe buy this tea, our tea, because we're making other teas too expensive for you to purchase. So once again, the colonists are starting to say, like, well, you know what? They're taxing everything and taking away some of our freedoms. And so they start to petition Parliament. They're like, all right, we want to let you know that we disagree with these things, and we're going to boycott some of your goods, all right? We're not going to buy this stuff. Yeah, we want it, but we're not going to buy it because, we're not going to let you have the money for it. So boycotting, petitioning Parliament. And then one night, I don't know what caused them to get so creative, but a group of colonists dressed up as Native Americans in Boston and went through a bunch of crates of teas into Boston Harbor. Called it the Boston Tea Party, all right? So now we have a little bit of a retaliation for the Tea Act. And then they decided they needed to kind of gather together and be more coordinated in their efforts. So they come up with the Continental Congress. So now they have a body of representatives, delegates that can and say start to coordinate and really share stories from each of the colonies. It's like, yeah, it is bad here. Oh, it's bad here too. Oh, they did that to you? Well, listen to what they did to us. And so now there's this committee of correspondence that's set up to start sharing all of these horror stories. It's like the Revolutionary War version of X or Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's just like, you will not believe what just happened here. And it's like, hashtag, let's revolt, whatever, So all of these things. And then it just kept getting worse. The Quartering Act is like, we're going to send over a bunch of soldiers and you need to let them stay with you. Right? The Quartering Act required citizens in the colonies to house British soldiers if necessary. And then the Intolerable Acts, right? These acts shut down Boston Harbor and took positions of government away from the locals and assigned by Britain. It's like, oh, we can't tolerate this anymore, okay? So all of these things, and then of course it was that skirmish in Boston, where outside a tax collector office, where snowballs were thrown and shots were fired, and you had several colonists lost their lives. Okay, the Boston Massacre, and now it's really starting to get out of control, where the tensions are kind of boiling over. You have, and then we talked before about Thomas Paine, and he's writing this letter of common sense. It's like all this stuff is going on here. I'm going to write this pamphlet and send it out. People are reading this pamphlet. They're seeing all of these acts taking place. They're reminded by the words of John Locke saying, hey, if the government is not looking after your individual rights, you need to replace the government. So all of these ideas are kind of like sticking to them, okay? And they're like, we need to do something to gain our independence from Great Britain. So then they write this letter, like, all right, we're going to let the world know. We call it the breakup letter, right? The breakup with Britain letter. So we're going to let the world know that we're done, all right? When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands that have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate but equal station to which laws of nature's God entitled them, right? That's what they are. They declared the cause which impelled them to the separation, right? That's what they did. So they're like, we're going to write this, and then the first thing we're going to say is the truths that they clung to: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then at the end of the letter, they were the grievances against King George. So all of those things added together and said, we just can't take it anymore. We're going to declare our independence. And King George, he was like, I'm going to keep sending more troops over. Second Continental Congress forms, and George Washington's placed in charge of the Continental Army. And it's just time. And then we know the first shots being fired at Lexington and Concord. And then the American Revolution has begun, and we're on our way towards independence. Well, again, I hope that's not the first time that you heard it. It was a quick review. I will keep going back and forth to all of these events as they are connected in our history to get us to where we are today. Well, take a little bit of a break, take a little bit of a breather, and hopefully you will continue to watch the videos as you prepare for the EOC. See you next time.